this is one question is, do you still believe that Evernote will be a 100-year company, which means that you have said that before. Can you just explain that briefly, and then, and do you still stick to it?
Definitely. Well, to be clear, I've never said that I think Evernote will be a 100-year company. I've said, and I still say, that our goal is to build a 100-year company. It's obviously has always been very unlikely to actually make a company that stays around for 100 years.
Right.
But it was a very important goal to have, and it was very important to build a company to be able to achieve that. More specifically, it wasn't actually a 100-year company, it was a 100-year startup. So the language that I was using is we're trying to build a 100-year startup, which is a company that will last for 100 years, but also a company that will still be a startup at the end of that period, something that's still innovating, that's making things that people love. And yeah, that's definitely the goal. And doing that requires a certain kind of discipline, a certain kind of design ethos that I think was really good to have.
GE is a company that just announced they're moving their headquarters to Boston. There may be a good example of a 100-year startup. They're incredibly innovative yet today. What companies do you look at and just think of as your, what do you strive to be like?
Well, so I kind of got this idea in Japan. We spent a lot of time in Japan. Evernote got really popular in Japan. When I looked into this, there was like 3,000 something. There's, I think, something like 3,200 companies in the world today that are more than 100 years old. And like 3,000 of those are in Japan. So it's very much like a culture that values producing something that's durable, that lasts a long time.
Right.
But most of those 3,000 100-year-old companies in Japan, like, they're kind of terrible. Like, you wouldn't actually want to work there. So the whole idea was to combine like the best of Japanese culture and the best of Silicon Valley culture, which was the 100-year startup. So we would try to do something that was durable, but that was also like actually constantly innovating. So the companies in Japan that are over 100 years old that I thought were really inspirational, companies like Nikkei, which is a big newspaper, kind of news and media company, which was kind of amazing. One of our partners was a company a company called Yuichiro Yoko, which is it's kind of a design company that started out making like IT products, 102 years ago, where IT products meant like desks and filing cabinets, and now they're still making, computer software and things like that. And they've got this amazing thing. If you walk into the Yuichiro Yoko headquarters in Tokyo, in the lobby they've got this museum, this company museum, and it's sort of a circular room, well, semicircular room, and you go in, they've got this round curved wall, and they've got years, marked down in columns. So starting with 100 years ago, and for every year, they basically have like a selection of their products from that year. So like as you look at it, you could see like this is what they were making in 1902, and this is what they were making in 1905, and really fascinating to kind of watch the evolution of the company for 100 years. And it kind of starts here, and it goes and it stops in the middle, and then like this side is all blank. It's all like to be filled in.
Yeah.
And I remember like just being really struck by that, by how beautiful that was, by like standing in this lobby of this company, that it was like proud of a consistent 100-year history, and then like still just left,
right.
like they just left room for the next 100 years, because obviously like that's the plan. And I remember thinking like, yeah, I want one of those too.